Welcome, everyone. Today we are back on Underground Sound. I'm Emerson.
I'm Noah.
And today we have a very special guest with us here. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Kevin, also known as DJ Alexis.
That's what I'm talking about.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like to call him the hottest DJ in North Carolina.
I mean, if you say so.
I definitely say so. I love your stuff.
Luckily for our listener base, we're going to have some in-depth time with him as well so that he can be able to show us what he's got, just answer a few questions, get to know him better, just like we're doing.
Yeah. So your name is Kevin, is that correct?
Yes, my name is Kevin.
So where'd you come up with the name DJ Alexis?
So my middle name is actually Alexis, and the time I was looking for DJ names when I was 15, I was figuring out like different names for my DJ. So I was thinking it was like DJ Kev or it should be DJ Kevin. And I totally forgot my middle name, and I thought about my middle name. I was like, oh, DJ Alexis sounds to be pretty chill, pretty relaxed, smooth. So I chose DJ Alexis from there.
Yeah.
Like it. You heard it here first, folks. I mean, this could be a pretty big thing. Get into the future, especially when it comes to learning fun facts. You can be like, hey, DJ Alexis, I know how he got his name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said. They're very smooth, very relaxed. That does sound smooth. I like it a lot. That was something I always found interesting. I remember the first time I met you, I saw your DJ Alexis sticker on your laptop, and I was like, who's DJ Alexis?
A lot of people say the same thing. How did you get your name? Is Alexis your middle name, or is it your real name? So
That's funny. So what type of music then do you normally play? Because you're a DJ, you've done weddings, you've been in a few parties. What music do you usually play at these events?
When I first began, I primarily did a bunch of like Ecuadorian music because that's where my ethnicity is from. That's from Ecuadorian, and later began to go more branching into like Mexican music, music from different areas of the Latin music. And then when I got into college is when I really began doing a bunch of like hip hop, more of a pop type thing, EDM music. But my primary is definitely Latin music. I kill it then.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Latin music in general, just cultural influences that you've had, that's a big part of your identity. And do you feel like that's defined you as a DJ, or do you feel like you're somewhat of more of a versatile, kind of well-rounded, all-around kind of hip-hop, both musical roots, influences, things of that nature? You've stated that you have been able to provide like a lot of great things with your Latin music and Ecuadorian influences as well. What kind of brought you into hip-hop?
So when I first began first year in college, I had a couple of friends that found out I was DJ, and many of them were like, "Yo, can you DJ this party?" And I'm like, I was really scared. I was like, I guess, but I mean, I have no idea what kind of music I'll be playing, and so that I really began to like start going out to more parties, figuring out what kind of music they play, what's popping, like what's hot in the moment, and from there on, I began to DJ more of this like hip hop music, more pop and stuff like that, more something more people would listen to at a college setting.
Right.
And so that's where I really began to really dig deep into like hip hop. I started listening to different Spotify playlists that people make, and from there on, a lot of the music I started like finding the trends of what people like and what people don't want to listen to at parties. And so
nice. That's
when I began to like really become a well-rounded DJ, not just Latin music, but also I can do like English music as well, and just like go with what people like and see what the crowd likes.
Yeah, absolutely. And oftentimes when we talk about artists on our show, we do emphasize the importance of people being able to progress as artists and have that versatility. And it sounds like you've been able to capture a certain thing that's not as mainstream in America, but also be able to use that to express just like who you are as a person as well, but also be able to use some mainstream music, which is the most popular genre right now, and use that to your advantage as well. So it seems like, especially when we're talking about artists, we talk about progression and versatility and just being able to show change and growth over time. And it sounds like you've been able to do that pretty well so far. So Emerson, do you have anything else?
Yeah, you talk about kind of reading the crowd well and figuring out what people like and don't like. Now, when you do that, is that something you kind of do in the moment, or like how much of your set do you really like plan out prior to like a party or whatnot? How much do you actually like just kind of come up with on the moment?
So I really like the question. A lot of people ask me like, do you set out plans? Do you set out these playlists before a party? In reality, I never do.
None.
None. I never.
Wow.
I never
Nice.
set up no playlists, no crates, no nothing just because I don't know what I'm going to get myself into in the moment. I can, someone can say, yo, go DJ this hip hop party, and I'm DJing it. But let's say if they don't like that type of music, then I made a whole playlist, worked so much of my time for that I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And so I typically just like when I practice, I literally just pick mini folders and just start practicing song by song and just figuring out what goes with what. And so like when I go to like different parties, like, you know, Emerson was saying, like, how am I able to read crowds? I read crowds at the moment. I go little by little, do like maybe some, like if I do it, for example, for Latin parties, if I'm doing a Latin party, I might start with some bachata if they're liking that, maybe later on know to play that. I'll start with some merengue. If they're not digging it, then maybe not play that for the rest of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Some cumbas. If they're not liking that, then maybe not play it. And so like you just being able to see what they want to dance to, what most people dance to is definitely, that's how I read the crowd. And so, but I do have like a bunch of like playlists that I do set out in my crates in my DJ software.
Right.
But they're not all like designated just for one party. I just have them for general, and then however I can see the crowd is going by, that's when I'll be able to know what song I'm going to play next.
Nice. And so you really weren't kidding when you said you could definitely read people and like figure out what they want. I think that's a very important tool to have as a DJ, especially considering just like the wider range of electronic music we hear, rap music, just there's a lot of different tastes out there and it's not always going to be the same. So I think that's really speaks to your ability as an artist and as somebody who's looking to kind of progress and a sense of, you know, like being so well-rounded. I think that's a pretty big thing right there. And I think a lot of people have these premeditated playlists that make things sound a little bit more conventional, but I think that probably adds a couple extra layers to your music as well in terms of like the unpredictability about it too. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, we got a caller, but we're not going to accept that because we don't know how to work that stuff.
No, we're not going to accept that caller. I apologize if you are the caller right now listening. Yep. Sorry about that.
Well, that's too bad. Anyways, so obviously we are a hip-hop based and rap station here. Not station, show. I wish it was a station. But, and you said you weren't always a fan of it, but you got into it. As of right now, who do you think are some of like your favorite rappers or just like artists in general in that area?
So as of right now, I really, really like Kodak Black and Migos. Those are probably one of my two favorites. Playboi Carti's one of my favorites as well. Cardi B, I like them a lot. I listen to a lot of their music, and definitely Drake. I'd put Drake in there too. So,
Drake,
yeah.
I got my issues with Drake. Sorry about that. Noah, I saw your eyes widen when he started listing off artists. Were there any in particular that you'd like to talk about for a quick second?
No, it was very interesting to me because I feel like Migos is definitely something that I have heard with like a lot of DJs and something that's a big crowd pleaser. But as to say, you said Playboi Carti as well and Cardi B.
That's Playboi Carti.
That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff right there.
He does have good stuff.
Yeah, and it seems like a couple of the other artists you mentioned that's good with it. If somebody could stop calling us right now, that'd be fantastic. I'm about to blow a fuse. Anyway, but no, that's really great stuff right there. Is that who you just mainly stick to, or is that some of your favorites for the most part?
Some of my favorites. But like I said, just like when I'm DJing, I just don't literally just like focus on those artists. I focus on what people want to listen to, what the most popular song at the moment is, what goes hand to hand. So
all right. So with that in mind, I guess the big question here is, what is that one song or like one part that you do that seems to be like a 100% success rate that really gets people every time?
As of right now, like if I were to be DJing a party tonight, I definitely would say Mo Bamba's one of the songs.
There we go.
I see that in everyone's story every Friday and
Emerson,
Saturday
did you
night.
listen to Mudboy?
I have not listened to Mudboy yet. I don't know if I should. Much
better than you'd expect. Much better than you'd expect.
I'll add it to my list to eventually listen to.
I think it got an 8 on Pitchfork, by the way. Pretty good too.
I know Anthony Fantano kind of hated it, but that he's just one guy. I disagree with him like half the time. So, little grain of salt, I guess. But okay.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin here, you mentioned the Migos. My little surprise for you was I am not the biggest Migos fan, but there's one song that really surprised me on just how good I think it is. But yeah, the song is Made Men off of Culture 2 by the Migos, and it's not one of their more popular songs.
Or albums.
Not one of their more popular albums. But I don't know what it is about the song, but I absolutely love it. So
All right, let's play
I
it.
will play it for you. Here we go.
I like
Once
it, I like
again,
it.
very special DJ Kevin with
Thank
us,
you.
DJ Alexis, and here it is, Made Men by the Migos.
Give it a listen.
Thank you.
All right, so we are back. Once again, that was Made Men by the Migos. Once again, we have our wonderful DJ Alexis in the building. Now, so what would you say are some of your influences? Or do you even have any influences?
Yeah, I do actually have I have a lot of influences. One of them is definitely since I was a kid, I've been really passionate with music. Played in the band when I was in middle school, high school, and then in high school is when I chose football over band because it was during the same seasons. And from there on, I needed myself to get into some sort of music, and I started DJing just because it was like much easier, more of like a more modern thing. So I started DJing a lot more, and then but I wasn't as interested. A lot of my influences, actually, a lot of my ideas and like a lot of my the things I do when I DJ is definitely comes from a DJ named Alex Sensation. He's a DJ that's he's a DJ that lives in New York. He DJs in New York. He's Colombian. He also DJs a lot in Miami. So he's like one of my biggest influences when it comes to DJing. A lot of I guess my expressions, a lot of my ways I mix, a lot of the ways I put music in or the way I put him in. A lot of my samples are because of him. I admire him a lot more now than I did before. So I watch a lot of him. So that's one of my big influences.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really cool. Noah, do you have something to add?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to hear what he had to say. But I think up next we have
Yeah, so Kevin, he picked out these songs himself. What do we have up next?
handpicked by Kevin.
We got some Kodak.
Kodak Black.
Yeah, No Flocking first coming up.
No Flocking, and then Tunnel
yeah.
Vision. So what is it that you like about Kodak Black so much? Why him?
I really like his hairstyle. I dig it a lot. I like his music. It really connects to me, a lot of his music. So like to listen to a lot of his songs.
Great.
Basically. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, well, once again, No Flocking and then Tunnel Vision, both by Kodak Black. All right, once again, that was the Kevin Kodak Black special right there. Unfortunately, Kevin is a very busy man. He has group projects to work on, he has jobs to attain, and he has music to make
for
all of us. So he has to leave. Kevin, any closing thoughts from you?
Yeah, I just want to thank you and you, Emerson. Forget your name again?
Noah.
No. And I just want to thank you guys for inviting me, having me here for a little bit, being able to express my my journey as being a DJ and my background of being a DJ. So it was great talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Seeing what the show is about. I like it a lot here. So nice.
Yeah, great stuff. It's always nice to have another person from Burlington on the
yes.
show, and
It's always nice just bring on another
person in music.
voice,
You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's great.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
great. Well, best of luck with everything. Not
Thank
only
you.
is he an artist, he is also a scholar.
Scholar.
So, as I say, that's something else you need to know. Right
He's a
here.
student here. He's got work to do.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Once again, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Kevin.
You too. Have a good night.
Whatever. Anyway, next, that was Deliver by Lupe Fiasco. Still one of my favorite artists. I love that song. It's so great. Next up, we have a very familiar name, Odyssey. And the very first song I ever listened to Odyssey is Own Appeal I believe it was off the Tangible Dream album. We here have talked about Odyssey a decent amount. And this is just a nice, heartwarming song. It's, again, the first one I ever listened to. No, any closing thoughts, though?
No, let's give it a listen.
Let's give it a listen.
9.3.
The Charles Petty Hour. I got to listen on that show. I'm actually glad I found that here on the system. He is definitely an interesting dude to talk to. Highly recommend you listen to his show, even though I haven't listened to it. He's just a really interesting guy. Advice is definitely a key part of his thing. So, definitely worth checking out. But we've talked about the Diplomats, a.k.a. Dipset, a little bit. And one of my favorite songs by them is My Love. Once again, they have a reunion album on the way. Real excited. Old school that is somehow got lost in translation over the years, but definitely still great and still worth listening to. Once again, My Love by the Diplomat.
All right. So, Up next, we have a very special song by Royce da 5'9". Now, if you don't know anything about Royce da 5'9", you could be forgiven. He is in a rap supergroup, I guess you could say, or just duo, with Eminem called Bad Meets Evil, but he has also had a solo career that has been minorly successful.
Yeah.
He came out with a couple hits in Bad Meets Evil, number of years ago, but he's also very strong as a solo rapper on his own who really doesn't get enough attention. This song is called Caterpillar, and it's featuring a very little known Eminem and a guy named King Green.
A guy, we don't know him.
Yeah, he's just a guy. He's just a guy. So, this is a big song right here. This is something I really, really like. Emerson likes it as well. We could not believe we found this
crazy.
in the database.
Well, being from Michigan, Royce da 5'9's from Detroit. He is constantly shouting out Detroit, specifically his dad, who works there. I think he mentions his dad at least in every mixtape album he's ever dropped. Fine by me. It's a cool shout out.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely underappreciated in general. In Michigan, we have a lot of love for him, so that's something. But yeah, in my opinion, he put out top 5 album of the year this year in his Book of Ryan. Really, really good. Definitely worth checking out. But
And I'm cutting you from your mother's womb, then I'm flushing you.
woo!
All right. So we had quite the amount of bars there on the not the intro, but the exit from Eminem. Another great exemplification of just how good he really is.
Michigan really just stands above everyone. That's
That's really interesting you say that, because we could get into a whole argument about this, which I'm sure we have actually. But no, that aside,
we'll do that some other time.
great talent from Detroit over there. But up next, we do have a song from actually somebody who was known before. They were an artist
And known for different things.
Yeah, very much so. You may know him as Will Smith's son. You may know him as the reboot of The Karate Kid. Or you may know him as that guy who was in a horrible movie called After Earth, which bombed at the box office alongside his father. But that aside, yeah, exactly. But that aside, there's a lot to be said about Jaden Smith, and what you cannot deny is that he's a creative and he's a very interesting guy. So he released an album, I believe it was this last spring. Is that right, Emerson?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Last spring, called Sire, and he has a song called Breakfast off of this one, and I wanted to give all of you a listen, so go ahead.
Alright, you think you could save rap music?
I hate that intro.
Yeah, that was a little bit pompous right there. He certainly cannot save rap music because it does not need saving.
Yeah, and he's not the one to do it. Anyways, I did enjoy his album there, and I like that song a lot. But next up, we're going to be talking a little bit about young M.A. If you do not remember who she is, you certainly at one point did. She had a huge song called Ooh. Yes, you heard it here first. Ooh is the name of the song. It was massive. It was huge. If you don't remember it, Google OOOUUU. It is definitely going to pop up. It was massive for like a summer vacation, I guess. And I listened to that song. I thought it was awesome, and I kind of wrote her off as a one-hit wonder. Because that song came out 3 years ago, maybe?
I think it was 2016.
Yeah, 2 years ago, almost 3. Yeah, I mean, it was a while ago, and I kind of just wrote her off as a one-hit wonder. However, I then decided, well, I actually haven't listened to anything else she's made since that, so might as well check it out to see if she really is a one-hit wonder, and she is not a one-hit wonder. She has a lot of really good stuff. I'm actually a really big fan of her now. She really just releases a few freestyles and small singles every now and then. Hasn't really released an album in a very long time. But
very true, very true.
I really enjoy what she's put out. Noah was a bit when I mentioned her prior to this. Noah, any thoughts here?
No thoughts.
No thoughts.
I don't want to get in the way of the listeners' listenership right now.
Okay. Well, the first song I have by her is Walk, and then we'll move into Self-Made.
Oh, yeah.
Love young M.A. And that will basically conclude the show for today. We're very thankful to have a wonderful guest for us, DJ Alexis once again, Kevin. And we're unsure, but we think we're going to do an album review next week. We'll work out the kinks.
We got to get back to it.
We got to get back to it.
It's still in the works. We got a couple other surprises coming your way too.
Yep, a lot planned, but not a lot to time to do it in. So, you know, everything just gets pushed back, really.
Agreed.
But so the last song we will play kind of as our outro will be Self-Made by Young A. This, I think, is probably my favorite Young M.A. song. Hard to tell, though, because there's so many good ones, in my opinion.
Wow, interesting.
So many good ones.
That's a take and a half right there.
I'm not sure how I feel about that phrase, but anyways.
And a half.
But yeah, that'll basically conclude our show. Any closing thoughts before we play Self-Made and head on out of here, Noah?
All I'm saying is that we had a guest and a half, and that made it a show and a half, you know? Really appreciate
This guy is
You
good
all are an
at
audience and a half.
grinding your gears. I said I think I don't know if it irritates me, but like
I'll make sure it does.
It's used a bit more than it should, and that's why it's starting to irritate me. It hasn't gotten there yet.
Okay.
But
Okay.
all right, once again, Self-Made by Young M.A., and we are Underground Sound. I'm Emerson.
I'm Noah.
WSOE 89.3, Elon, North Carolina.